Hi everyone, this is Sean. Welcome back to my channel. So I just got done conducting a BSIS inspection. What BSIS stands for those of you who don't know, it stands for the Bureau of Security and Investigative Services. They are the regulatory arm for private security and private investigation personnel in the state of California. Keep in mind that I don't work for BSIS. I don't represent them in any way. I don't represent any law enforcement agency. I don't represent any government agency. I'm not an attorney, and no information provided in this video shall be construed to be legal advice. Those are all of my disclaimers. So when I mentioned I conducted a BSIS investigation or a BSIS audit, that doesn't mean that I am BSIS and I'm conducting an audit or investigation on behalf of BSIS. That's not what it means. So in this video, I plan on talking to you about how to survive a BSIS audit or inspection. They're basically the same thing. And it's going to be the shortened version, the condensed version. If you want to learn more about this, how to survive an inspection, then sign up for my 40-hour course called the Private Patrol Operator Leadership and Development Course. It's a 40-hour course, and I'll leave a link in the description box below. I have a module that addresses BSIS audits and inspections. I think we go in about an hour and a half into it. I even give you guys forms that you can use that will be helpful to the BSIS staff who is auditing your records. It just makes the whole day go a lot smoother. So let's talk about how the day would begin. There's an unannounced inspection, and then there's an announced inspection. With an unannounced inspection, BSIS is just going to show up in the middle of nowhere. They'll just show up to the office or to one of the work sites, show their credentials, and start demanding documents. For many private patrol operators or qualified managers, this is actually a frightening experience. This is sometimes their first time having experience with a government official who has the ability to essentially suspend that person's license. That license gets suspended. You have hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars, maybe tens of thousands, maybe thousands of dollars worth of contract that's at stake, because if you get your license suspended, you can't service those contracts. So your heart just starts pounding, you get the anxiety. I know because I've experienced inspections before, guys. And there was no video that I can watch to prepare myself. There was no training module. There was no book that I can read to prepare myself. I was just faced with BSIS. Now with the unannounced inspection, I want to say that most of the time, in my honest opinion, BSIS suspects you of violating the Business and Professions Code. Not just a minor violation, but a major violation. Maybe you're operating a security company without a PPO license. Maybe there was a use of force, couple of use of force incidents that haven't been reported. Maybe that there was some guards at your work site who don't have a guard card. These are serious issues. They'll show up unannounced. Now I'll say this, once again, there's not legal advice, not professional advice, but there's something in law called the concept of reasonableness. If a BSIS analyst or an investigator shows up to the work site, if you are on vacation, if you're a qualified manager and you're on vacation somewhere, okay, it's reasonable for you to be able to produce those documents when you come back. If you're truly in another state or you're far away, it's reasonable for them to wait. Now, if your employees, whomever you delegated your authority to, okay, if they have authority to go through the files, if you gave them the authority to go through the files, well, they can produce those records for BSIS, okay? Now, if the answer is no, no one has authorization to produce those files, well, then my argument, or your argument could be, well, I'm sorry, the BSIS argument would be, well, if nobody has access to those files but you, who is currently operating the business at the moment? It's not you, because you just told me you're on vacation. So that's something to think about. You have to think about also contingency plan. How are you able to delegate your authority to other people? You guys ever heard of a small company called Allied Universal? How many qualified managers do they have in California? Now, mind you, they have at least 800,000 employees. How many qualified managers do they have? One. And a lot of people who work for Allied Universal don't even know the name of that qualified manager. You mean to tell me that qualified manager has control over the business? I don't know. Now, what Allied Universal does is they have a lot of branch offices all over the place, and they designate those branch office managers certain authority to maintain the business. But these are just plans that you have to think about. Ladies and gentlemen, I cover these plans. I cover these concepts, these theories in the 40-hour course. There's no way that I'm going to discuss an hour and a half of concepts in this video. I created the course already. I'm not going to provide all that information for free. I hate to sound a little bit negative, but I have a business to operate as well. Just like you. Your time is valuable, my time is valuable as well. With an announced inspection, BSIS will notify you in advance. And they'll agree with you on a certain date that they could come down and do their inspection. I wouldn't be too concerned if you know what they're looking for. Sometimes they'll tell you what they're looking for, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they'll just generalize, oh, I'm looking for the personnel files. I just want to go over them of employees that work there and employees that don't work there anymore. Okay, but then when they get there, they're going to start asking for information that's a little bit more specific, and you may not be ready for that. Okay, so those of you who took the qualified manager exam in California, a lot of those test questions revolve around actual practice. So, for example, you're required to know how many years you have to maintain these personnel files for, right? Now, if you start shredding a lot of these documents, these personnel files, after 1 year of service from the employee, well, you're gonna run afoul with BSIS. Okay, just something to think about. Something I want to also talk about very briefly is Senate Bill 807, I believe, was passed, and that became effective. I think it was January 1st of 2022. The retention period for personnel files is now 4 years. Those of you who have my book, The Private Patrol Operator, I discussed a 2-year period. So the Business Professions Code requires you to only keep personnel files for 2 years. But the Labor Code requires you to keep it for 3 years. I wrote about that in my book, The Private Patrol Operator, Managing a Private Security Company in the State of California. Because of Assembly Bill 807, okay, you have to keep those personnel files for 4 years now. This has changed, guys. This is not in the new book. That's why I'm so glad that you're listening right now, okay? If there's anything else that you guys have questions on about a BSIS inspection, let me know. What I might do, please give me about 4 to 5 months after posting this video. I might offer for sale a BSIS audit and inspection video, and that will be in the link in the description box below. But right now, I don't have a lot of time to create that course availability, just that module for you. But in the not so far future, about 4 months, I should be able to have that course available to you. Guys, you got to prepare for these BSIS audits. I just came from a security company, and the things that I saw would shut down that security company. It would shut them down fast. It will remove a lot of the liability protections that the employees would have and the leaders of this company would have. It would not pass an inspection. And I'm so glad that they actually hired me to do that. My service is expensive. If you're interested, shoot me an email and I can give you what the fees are. You could go through my course That might be the cheaper route, or you can just read through the business and professions code and see what's required of you and some of the relevant labor code sections. So that's all I got. If you guys have any questions, concerns, let us know. If you've been through a BSIS audit, let us know when or about this was, and let us know how can we prepare ourselves. So that's all I got, you guys. Take care and be safe out there. Looking forward to the dialogue.